10 Strange Paranormal Stories from Scotland. If you've ever visited Scotland, you know this: if ghosts exist, this is where you'll find them. Edinburgh, for example, tends to be named as one of the most haunted cities in the world. 10. Lady Catherine of Dalhousie. When you visit Scotland, you may not even need to leave your hotel to witness ghosts. In fact, if you're staying in the Dalhousie Castle Hotel and Aqueous Spa, you might have an old-timey ghost hanging out in your room. The ghost rumored to haunt the place is Lady Catherine, a 16-year-old noblewoman who was banished in a castle tower in 1695 after getting caught with a stable hand. The poor, lovelorn Catherine died in her tower, and it is said that her spirit never left the castle, even when it was converted to a hotel in 1972. Lady Catherine's ghost leads a fairly active afterlife, which has led to multiple sightings over the years. The hotel is a popular wedding site, and the Spectre has been known to attend the festivities. She walks the castle's turrets and corridors and even appears in people's rooms. Sometimes, she waves at the guests from a window. Other times, you might find her sitting on your bed. According to eyewitnesses, her gray dress, sharp features, and small feet could make you believe that she's perfectly alive, that is until she walks right through a locked door. 9. The Ghosts of Stirling. Stirling Castle is home to two well-known ghosts. The more striking one of them is known as the Pink Lady. She is a pretty woman who got her nickname from the luxurious, pink dress that she wears. She's rumored to be none other than Mary, Queen of Scots, who was crowned in the castle. According to another legend, she may be the wife of a soldier who fell when Edward I and his troops besieged Stirling Castle in the early 14th century, doomed to search for her fallen husband for all eternity. The Pink Lady spends her time wandering around the castle and its surrounding area. The second ghost is known as the Green Lady or the Grey Lady, depending on who is telling the story. A popular story says that she's the spirit of a servant girl who saved young Queen Mary from a fire, possibly dying herself while doing so. Whenever she appears, a major disaster is sure to follow. Although this may seem ominous, the lady is actually trying to warn people of the danger, attempting to save them like she saved her queen so many years ago. 8. The Hostile Spirits of Blair Street Vaults. Listverse has told you about Edinburgh's old vaults before, but some of the spirits that reside there are even scarier than the old legends of murderous grave robbers Burke and Hare storing their victims there. These underground chambers are locally known as Blair Street Vaults and thought to be the home of several nasty ghosts. These spirits will not necessarily show themselves to you, but their faces sometimes show in photographs, and their presence is felt in a number of other ways. The most harmless ghost is Jack. He is a joker who likes to tug at people's pants and throw stones across the chambers, causing nasty echoes. Another one is known as Mr. Boots. He's the source of the mysterious, heavy footsteps that some say can be heard in the empty vaults. However, they're both small potatoes compared to the Watcher, a truly frightening entity. 7. The White Hart Inn. If you're feeling playful, you might say that there's no better place for a Scottish spirit than a pub. Maybe that's why so many Scottish pubs have ghosts of their own. One of the most famous haunted public houses is the White Hart Inn. With its cellars that date back to 1516, it is one of the oldest pubs in Edinburgh. It's also said to be one of the most haunted. According to legend, the White Hart Inn has seen many different murders and tragedies. Over the centuries, the place has accumulated so much spectral energy that many visitors have reported invisible hands pulling their hair or throwing things at them. The ghosts aren't fans of modern technology, either, as they occasionally pull cables. In 2013, a tourist couple supposedly managed to photograph one of the White Hart Inn's ghosts. Although the bar manager doesn't believe in the hauntings himself, even he admitted that the picture was very hard to explain. He also admits that many members of the staff have had odd encounters, and their cleaner has actually threatened to quit if he encounters any more unexplained phenomena. 6. The Ghosts of Glencoe. The massacre of Glencoe in 1692 was a brutal attack where soldiers loyal to the English crown visited the MacDonald clan and initially befriended their hosts. But suddenly, they received an order from the crown, kill the entire clan. The formerly pleasant soldiers ambushed the sleeping MacDonalds during a blizzard, killing 38 of them. Many more died of exposure as they desperately fled for the hills. Some say the ghosts of the wronged MacDonalds never went away. People who live in the stunningly beautiful Glencoe, aka Glencoe, area generally agree that the spirits of the victims are still lingering, unable to move on because of their unexpected and violent demise. Winter is said to be the best time to glimpse spectral MacDonalds, particularly near the massacre's anniversary, February 13th. Some have reported ghostly figures crouching in the hills, still desperately trying to hide from the soldiers. Others say that they've heard the screams and wailing of the MacDonalds being killed all over again. Others still claim that they've actually seen the massacre reenacted in ghostly form. 5. The Plague Phantoms of Mary King's Close. Wherever people die in large numbers, you're bound to find a ghost story or two. Mary King's Close in Edinburgh is no exception. 6. The partially walled-up, claustrophobic alley area below the city chambers used to be a place where the city's poor lived and, when the bubonic plague arrived in the 17th century, died. As the city grew, the upper levels of the close were eventually demolished, leaving only the creepy, narrow basement levels that you can still visit today. As a frightening, claustrophobic place where people died en masse, the close has long enjoyed a reputation as a site haunted by the plague victims. The most famous ghost here is a young girl known as Annie. In 1992, Annie thoroughly scared a Japanese psychic taking a guided tour. The visitor had been unimpressed by the place until she stepped into a particular room. She was immediately overwhelmed by feelings of cold, hunger, and sickness, and when she tried to stumble away from the room, a small, ghostly hand tried to grab her leg. 4. The Piper of Cairnhead. Lighthouses are isolated and scary places. Scottish castles are famously haunted. When you combine the two, you get Cairnhead. This beautiful lighthouse has been serving Scotland since 1787, and it was built on the remaining structure of a 15th century castle. Naturally, this means that Cairnhead has its very own ghost story. It is said that the lord of the Cairnhead castle, Sir Alexander Fraser, was very protective of his daughter, Isabel. One day, when Sir Alexander was away on business, Isabel took in a young piper who was seeking shelter from a snowstorm. The two fell in love, but when Sir Alexander found out, he was so furious that he locked his daughter in the castle tower. He dragged the piper in a cave below the castle and chained him up. Unfortunately, a storm broke out and drowned the piper. The next day, Sir Alexander took his daughter in the cave so that he could make sure no hopes of marriage would linger between the two young lovers. However, when they found the piper dead, the heartbroken Isabel ran to her tower and jumped. 3. The Handless Woman of Rate Castle. Rate Castle is a large 13th century hall house that was equipped with castle towers during the 16th and 17th centuries. Although only its ruins remain, its many strange architectural features make it an interesting structure. Its history is equally fascinating, as is the story behind its ghost. Yes, of course, there's a ghost. It's a Scottish castle, remember? The Cummings, the most long-term occupants of Rate Castle, had been feuding with the Macintoshes over its ownership for centuries. In 1441, the Cummings decided it was time to stop fighting. So Old Cumming invited Clan Macintosh to the castle for a huge feast as an offer of peace. Even better, Old Cumming's daughter had struck up a relationship with a young Macintosh man. It looked like there might finally be a chance for peace between the two enemy clans. Of course, the invitation was actually a clever plot to wine and dine the Macintoshes and murder them while they were unable to fight back. Unfortunately for the Cummings, Old Cumming's daughter was worried about the safety of her lover and warned the Macintoshes about the plot. This is why they came to the dinner with dirk daggers hidden in their clothing. When the Cummings started their ambush during the toast for the dead, the Macintoshes pulled their hidden dirks and quickly stabbed their hosts instead. 2. The City of Inverness. Inverness is the administrative centre of the Scottish Highlands, located slightly to the north of Loch Ness. It's also a very, very haunted place. When a famous ghost hunting show toured the United Kingdom, Inverness was the only Scottish venue they visited. Part of this was because it is conveniently near some other sites with a ghastly reputation, such as the Culloden Fields, which we'll discuss in a moment. However, Inverness has plenty of strange stories of its own. Local paranormal enthusiasts will tell you about the Black Friar, a ghostly monk who is said to haunt the town's BT building. Legend has it that a spectral girl lurks in the Mirror and Balnain House, an old merchant building with a bloody history. There is an obligatory spooky lady ghost wandering the halls of Eden Court Theatre. Hospitals, graveyards, and even the River Ness are said to be brimming with ghosts. There are whispers of Willie the Carse, a local bogeyman. Witches and fairies have also been reported in the area. What makes Inverness even more mysterious than all these legends is that there is very little information available about them. Unlike Edinburgh, where haunted properties like Blair Street Vaults and the White Harting are on proud display, and ghost tours are readily available, Inverness seems to enjoy keeping its ghosts private. A team called the Highland Paranormal Group has recently started to uncover the city's ghostly mysteries, but even with their local knowledge and contacts, they say they've only started to scratch the surface. 1. The military Specters of Culloden. Culloden Moor is located just a few miles from Inverness. It is the site of the last major battle fought on British soil, the Battle of Culloden in 1746. The bloody conflict was between Scottish Jacobites and the much larger forces of the English crown, led by the Duke of Cumberland. The marshy battleground didn't favor the Jacobites and their favorite strategy of charging the enemy headlong. The English artillery and cavalry tactics defeated them so badly that the battle effectively ended the traditional Scottish clan culture. You'd expect a place with such a bloody and dramatic history to have more than its share of ghosts, and Culloden doesn't disappoint. Paranormal investigators have reported mysterious cold spots in places where Jacobites fell in large numbers. It is said that a Culloden drinking well called St. Mary's Well is so haunted that its water is screaming with the voices of the restless dead. The anniversary of the slaughter is a particularly active time for the ghosts. During that time, many people say they've seen mysterious marching Highlanders, strange corpses, and bleeding men. Some say that they've witnessed the entire battle played out by the restless ghosts of the fallen, as the air fills with screams and sounds of fighting.